So watch me do a full face glam on this dark skin beauty. If this is what you'd like to see, keep on watching. So please do not forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. So let's jump straight into this video. First, I'm going to be using my wipe to clean up the face in order to remove dirt and oil on the face. Then I went ahead to hydrate the skin to give the skin a little bit of hydration, after which I allowed it to dry before moving on to moisturizer. So I'm using my Cetaphil moisturizer to moisturize the skin. Moisturizer is very important in your skin prep. After moisturizing the skin, I'm going to allow it to absorb into the skin before moving on to primer. For primer, I'm going to be using my Kiss Beauty Foundation Primer. This is going to give the makeup a very good base to sit on. So after primer, moving on to foundation, I'm going to be using my Zikel foundation in the shade 030. So I use the flat brush to apply before blending. After that, I'm going to be using my damp beauty sponge to blend the foundation into the skin. So see how the foundation is sitting pretty on her skin. Moving on to cream contour, I'm going to be using my Avour foundation in the shade 035 to contour the face. And whenever I want to contour the face, I always use a foundation shade or concealer shade that is 2 to 3 shades darker than the skin to contour the face. So after contouring the face, moving on to cream blush, I'm going to be mixing these two shades from my Blossom lip palette and apply it above her cheekbone and a little bit on the tip of her nose. Then I went ahead using my beauty sponge to blend. So after blending, next is to highlight the face. I'm going to be using this Zikel concealer in the shade Honey to highlight the face. And anytime I want to highlight the face, I always use a concealer shade that is 2 to 3 shades lighter than the skin to highlight the face. So I'm applying the concealer on the places I want to highlight. So after applying the concealer on the highlighted area, I'm going to be using my beauty sponge to blend the concealer on the highlighted area. So after blending the concealer on the highlighted area, I'm going to be contouring the nose with the same shade I used to contour the face. So I used a flat brush to apply it before using my beauty sponge to blend to avoid any harsh lines. So after that, I added a little lighter concealer on the inner corner of her face. So this is Milani concealer in the shade 160. So after applying it, I blended it immediately because I want the inner corner of her face to be lighter than the outer corner. So after blending in the concealer, next is to set the concealer with my merak setting powder in the shade Nutmeg. But before setting, I went back using my beauty sponge to blend the areas underneath the eyes to avoid creasing. Then I went ahead to set. So I'm going to be setting using my beauty sponge. So while setting, I do not like to pack too much setting powder. A little goes a long way. Start with a little quantity. That is what I do most of the time, and with that I won't be able to have a cakey outcome. So after setting the concealer on the highlighted area, I'm going to be setting the rest of her face with this powder shade from Avour. So this is our exact skin shade powder. So I always like to set the rest of the face using the exact shade of the person's skin tone, whether my model or anybody, to set the rest of the face. So it's not possible you set with a lighter shade of powder or a darker shade of powder. The powder you should use should be your exact shade of your skin color to set the rest of your face. So after setting the rest of the face, I'm going to be contouring the face. I'm going to be using my Royal Powder palette. I'm going to be taking this darker shade from my Royal Powder palette to set the cream contour that I applied earlier. So after setting the cream contour, I'm going to be doing the same thing on her nose. So I mixed a lighter shade of powder and the same powder I used for contouring, because I really do not want the nose to be too dark. So I mixed it to contour the nose. So after that, I'm going to be applying a lighter shade of powder from the same powder palette and apply it on the highlighted area just to give it a little bit of coverage. Moving on to powdery blush, I'm going to be using this shade from my Cheesky blush palette. I'm going to be applying it above her cheekbone. I already did the cream contour, so this is going to help make it pop very well. Please, if there's anything you don't understand in this video, please let me know in the comment section. If there's something you like or love about this video, please also let me know in the comment section. After that, I'm going to be setting the face. This is going to help reduce the powder effect and also help the products that I applied blend properly into the skin. After that, I'm going to be drying it up before moving on to baking. For baking, I used the same setting powder I used to set the face to bake the face. So I already did the brows off camera, but I made a video on how I achieved these brows. I'm going to be leaving the link in my description box so that you can watch. After that, I'm going to be prepping her lid with my Viange eyeshadow base. I went ahead to do the eyeshadow because I've already done the brows. So this is an eyeshadow primer. This eyeshadow primer is going to help the eyeshadow to pop and stay. After applying it, I added a little setting powder on the areas underneath the eyes to avoid fallout. Then I went back to blend the primer again so that it won't go bad. So after that, I'm going to be using my Blossom eyeshadow palette. I'm going to be taking this shade. At this point, I didn't even know what I was creating, so I took that color, started applying it from the outer corner, then gently blended it towards the inner corner of her lid. So after applying it on the both sides, I'm going to be using this shade here from the same eyeshadow palette with a different eyeshadow blending brush to blend out the eyeshadow and also give it a little bit of color. So I went back applying the first eyeshadow I applied. So I went back taking more of it so that the eyeshadow will pop very well. So after that, I went back with the brush I used to apply the eyeshadow base. I went back using it to blend the inner corner of her lid. After blending, next I'm going to be applying this shade from the same eyeshadow palette. I'm going to gently apply it on the inner corner of her face. So after that, I went back with that eyeshadow blending brush I used the first time to blend to avoid any demarcation. So after that, I went back with the eyeshadow blending brush to blend her crease again so that everything will be well blended without having any demarcation. The next is to line her upper and lower lash line. I'm going to be using my Carrot gel liner, the black shade. So I'm going to be lining her upper lash line with my angled brush. So after that, I added a little setting powder on the outer corner of her lid to define the lid. So next, I went back to apply more blush on her cheekbone. So next, I'm going to be prepping her upper and lower lashes with my Zaron mascara in order to give it volume. Then of course, I wore her these lashes from African Beauty Lashes. Then I went back to line her upper lash line because I wasn't seeing it anymore. So moving on to the lip, I'm going to be using this shade here from my Blossom lip palette to outline her lip. So after outlining the brows, I went back to blend it. After blending, I'm going to be using this Avour lip stain. I'm going to be applying it in the middle before blending it. After blending, I'm going to be adding this little peach color in the middle. After that, I'm going to be glossing her lip. So after glossing the lip, I went back with my contour brush to blend the areas I contour just to have a smooth like finish. After that, I'm going to be doing the same thing on the nose. We want to snatch the nose very well. After snatching the nose, I went back with a fluffy brush to dust off the excess powder underneath um her eyes and also dust off the excess powder on her face. So after that, I used my brush to blend everything together. So after blending everything together, I'm going to be setting the face. While I'm setting, I always like to cover the eyeshadow and the lip. So after setting, I'm going to be using my fan to dry it properly. After drying, I'm going to be using this tehila blush and highlighter palette. I'm going to be applying it on the places I want the highlights to pop. After that, I'm going to be using my Msmetic cheek glaze. I'm going to be applying it on the places I want the face to glow. So lastly, I'm going to be setting the face properly. After setting the face, you guys, we are done. So this is the finished look. I hope you guys enjoy watching this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.
And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile.